Hey, what's going on out there? This is Vinny Cuz, and before we get started, I need to do something. You'll understand why in a minute. Oh, God. Alrighty then. Now that that's out of the way. So, what we're going to talk about today is the latest rumor / controversy that's been sweeping at least the circles that I run in for rideshare down here, Uber and Lyft. Now, we know that Uber and Lyft on the X and Lyft platforms are going through vehicle requirement revamping the list. Lyft has already come out and said no more subcompact cars, or very, very few. They've torn that list apart. So if you were in a Prius or a Focus or a Honda Fit, something like that, you're gone, you're done. You're going to have to upgrade your vehicle or not drive. But now they seem to be going after the Lux Black, Lux SUV rides. And in my circles, it's got some people concerned. And I'll tell you why. Because, these guys went out a year or two ago and upgraded their vehicles according to the vehicle requirement list that the apps put out that we needed to have. First of all, why do drivers do that? Well, I started out as an ex-driver 3.5 years ago. And about a year and a half ago, I decided, you know what? I want to try to get into the Lux market. I wanted to see what that was all about. I have other ambitions besides that. So Uber and Lyft is not my only driving job. But I wasn't ready to make the commitment to a Suburban. And that's the only thing I would do. I wouldn't do anything smaller. But even now that might be in jeopardy, right? So drivers invest because they feel secure, right? They feel secure in the apps. They enjoy what they're doing, and they feel like they can make better money by upgrading. And that's a great thing until things like this happen, where the lists now start to change. Here in South Florida market, if you are a if you are a Lux driver or an aspiring Lux driver, as of April 9th, 2019, they're not taking on any more Lux or Lux SUVs. They've locked it out. Number of reasons for that. I think it's because there's too many, right? This goes back to ex-drivers and Lyft drivers wanting to upgrade themselves so that they could be open to more platforms to drive. The issue with that is, and this is from their standpoint, and I kind of agree with it, is that once we bump up these vehicles, we don't feel it's worth it to drive the regular X and the regular Lyft platforms. Now, if you're on Uber, you can lock out the pool, right? You can have them not send you pull requests. That's what I do. On Lyft, you got no choice. They're always, if you drop down to the Lyft platform, you're going to get shared ride requests. You just decline them. That's your right. But the ego and the money invested, most, myself included at times, most times, you don't want to drop down to X or Lyft, regular Lyft, because, a lot of times, as we see in the reports every single week, riders don't respect the rides. I personally have not had any issues when I'm on the regular platforms, X and Lyft, when I drop down. And since we're out of season, right, and if you're in South Florida, you know what I'm talking about. You have no choice. If you're going to go out and drive, if you think you're going to be getting the same amount of Lyft Lux and Uber Lux requests that you were getting while we were in season, you're out your mind. So you have two options. You either don't drive, right, and you figure out something else to do, or you drop down. So here, what we're talking about here is, I don't even know if me, as a current Lux driver, can onboard a new Lux vehicle or a new Lux SUV. I need to go to the hub and find that out. I've been meaning to do it, but I haven't done it. Over here on Lyft, we have a known revamped sheet. A lot of us have already gotten emails telling us that these new vehicle requirements will be affected or will be in effect in all markets by September of 2019. Now, that doesn't mean that I can turn on my app now and my platforms are gone, because I don't know. It's very muddy around my car. I drive a Cadillac CTS. I meet the year requirements. I've been Lux and Lux Black. And as we go down in the list, you know, it does say CTS, but they're adding the V on the end. And the only thing that's the difference between CTS-V and my CTS is the engine size. So we don't know yet. But in the groups that I drive in, okay, there are two vehicles that are very, very popular on Lux and Lux SUV that before this list goes into effect, they qualify for all the platforms. One of them is the GMC Acadia, okay, and the other is the Infiniti QX60. Now, if you're a driver, you see these QX60s everywhere. Why do drivers buy them? Because they're economical, they're inexpensive, and they meet the criteria. You're an independent contractor, right? It's your business, and you're going to try to minimize as much cost as possible to maximize as much profit as possible. So those vehicles were on Lux, and if they were black, they were Lux Black and Lux Black XL. Well, we scroll down here now, and guess what? QX60 is going off the Lux Black eligibility. We're not even talking about XL yet. Just Lux Black. The QX60 is gone. And GMC, the Acadia, is gone. These are the two most popular vehicles that are on that platform. Everybody seems to think it's the Suburban. It's not. If you look around, you'll see these are the most popular. The Suburbans are right behind it, don't get me wrong, and then your Escalades. But what they added in was they added in the Ford Expedition. Now, I know they look great, they look nice, but to me, it's a Ford. It doesn't speak to me as luxury. How do they come up with these? Nobody really knows. I think it has a lot to do with rider feedback, and then probably some bean counter pencil pusher who has to do something. So he goes down and maybe he qualifies these vehicles by price. I have no idea. Maybe it's by the amount of room that's in the vehicle, right? Not all XLs are true XLs. When we look here at the GMC, right, we go back up here to Lyft Lux, and we see the Tahoe's on there, right? And if anybody knows about these vehicles, the Tahoe is shorter than the Suburban. Now, there's two different sizes of Suburbans too. You got the Suburban and then the Suburban XL, but that's another story. But when we come down here to Lux Black, Tahoe's there. Keep in mind, we're talking about seating size, right? So in a Lux Black, you're not necessarily looking to seat 7, you're looking to seat 5. You can do that way comfortably in a Tahoe. But when you get down here to the Lyft Lux Black XL, the Tahoe's gone. So, you know, there are a lot of people out there that got a lot of vehicles that qualified yesterday that might not be qualified tomorrow. And what's going to happen with that? Well, those drivers are going to be in a situation. They're going to have to decide whether they want to remain on the platform in those vehicles and drop down to only Lux, XL, and regular Lyft, or if they want to trade them out and try to onboard back onto the system. But let's go back over here to Uber, because we know in South Florida, Uber, by default, Uber is stronger and has more market share. Do you know why? Because we're the gateway to Central and South America. We're the gateway to Europe, right? People that are out of country, when they come here, they don't know what Lyft is. All they know is Uber, right? Uber, Uber, Uber. So by default, Uber will always be number one until the time comes that Lyft decides they're either going to A, market better, or B, expand out into these other areas. And I don't see that happening anytime soon when you're losing $1 billion a quarter. Anyway, so what are these drivers going to do? Well, some are nervous. Some are saying, well, you know what, I'll just go XL and not worry about it. Take the Lux and the XL. And I don't blame them. For those that have the Suburbans, let's see, go back down here. Those that have the Suburbans already, right, and the Escalades, Suburbans, the Expeditions, the Denali's, the Navigators, whatnot, you just got a pay raise. Not physically per mile per minute, but with all those cars coming off the platform, you're going to have the advantage of getting more requests because there's going to be less supply, more demand. At least we hope so. So that's what I wanted to bring to you today. The other part of this is for drivers that are looking to make a decision, I want you to take a look at a few things, right? You always have to come and look is it worth it to spend $50, $60, $70, $80,000 on a vehicle when you're not guaranteed a single ride? That's the biggest decision anybody on the X and the regular Lyft platform or even the XL platforms have to decide. All these SUV drivers out here will tell you the majority of their rides are XL. They get more XL requests than they do Lux SUV requests and Lux requests. Got to remember that. You always go where your money is, right? And you can do XLs in a Dodge Journey, Toyota Sienna, a minivan, Chrysler Pacifica, whatever. You don't necessarily have to go into the Lux market because I can tell you, as a Lux driver, in season, I'm good for 6 to 10 requests a week. Off season, maybe 2. Big thing to think about. All right, so here are your Uber rates for for X here in South Florida, right? 67 cents a mile, 14 cents a minute. When I go down here, XL rates, now we bump up to $1.60 a mile, 24 cents a minute. That's a huge increase, right? And you can basically get an XL for the same price that you get an X. So anybody looking to upgrade, I would go XL and X and not worry about it because of the frequency of the amount of rides. You get here into Lux, $1.73 a mile, 28 cents a minute. Looks good, doesn't it? Lux SUV, big difference from XL, right? $3.42 a mile, 57 cents per minute. It's great if you're getting the rides. But if you're not getting the rides, that don't mean shit. Same thing over here on driver rate card on Lyft, and you can look this all up. This is obviously I'm on the internet. Regular Lyft, 66 cents a mile, 13 cents a minute. Basically the same as Uber. A penny difference on each. Lyft XL, $1.60 a mile, 24 cents a minute. Basically the same as Uber. Lux though, regular Lux pays 5 cents cheaper on Lyft than Lyft XL. That Lux car can be a $70,000 car. That XL can be a $10,000 buy here, pay here. Don't make sense, but whatever. This is where the big money is, right? You get into Lux Black. So we look at Lux, and we're going at $1.55 a mile. Go to Lux Black, it jumps up to $2.12 a mile. That's a 55-cent increase, 57-cent increase. I'm sorry, 52-cent increase in mileage just because the car is black on black and it's a Lux vehicle. This is why people go out and buy the vehicles. Lux Black XL, huge increase, right? I want to show you something. Here's Lux SUV for Uber, $3.42 a mile. Here's for Lyft, $4 a mile. So, and these are the money that you see as the driver. This is already after the percentages are out. So this is why people bump up and drive these vehicles. I don't have an idea of what to tell people as far as what they should or shouldn't get. But if it were me and I was in that situation, and I might be, I don't know yet, because CTSV and CTS, it's the same car, but it's got a different lettering to it. I don't know what's going to happen. I would probably, if I'm already into the vehicle for a year or two, probably keep it, run it on XL, run it on Lux, and open up to X, lose the ego in the off season. Would I consider upgrading right now? No, I wouldn't, because you don't know what else is coming down the pipe. But that's for another video. Anyway, I'm Vinny Cuz. That's what's happening. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. Click like, subscribe, And we'll see you next time. Peace out, South Florida.